This year, I crossed 10,000 euros per month from my freelancing clients. And in this video, I want to talk about what I would personally do if I needed to start from zero. That means I don't have any skills, I don't have a portfolio, I don't have any network, I don't have testimonials, nothing. So I'm starting from zero, and what would I do to basically get to 100K per year from freelancing? But in this video, I'm only gonna showcase what I would personally do. And remember, there are many different paths and many different things that you can do to achieve the exact same thing. In this video, I just wanna show exactly what I would do if I had nothing. So let's imagine for a second, I have no skills, I have no portfolio, no testimonials, no previous clients, no existing network, nothing. Basically, I'm just fresh out of school, let's say, and what exactly can I do to get to that 100K per year from freelancing? First thing that you need to do is to pick a skill or like a niche, like who are you? What are you doing? For example, right now I am an SEO expert, which is search engine optimization. And basically I help people optimize websites for other clients so that they rank higher in Google or any other search engine. And what I found from my personal experience is that all different skills and niches are not equal. What I would want to do is basically specialize in some high value niche or sub niche of a skill, because your skill basically dictates everything else. What is your portfolio? How can you approach clients? What type of clients can you work with? What kind of value you can provide? And is that thing valuable these days or not? Is it gonna be valuable in 5 years or not? So whatever you choose to do with your skills, it's probably one of the most important decisions, because everything else really depends on this. What I would do is I would try to look for a specific skill. Let's say I'm a writer or a graphics designer or something within digital marketing, but this is not enough, because this is just a broad like niche of writers. We have hundreds of writers, we have hundreds, thousands of graphic designers, and we have even more people doing digital marketing. So it's not enough just to select the broad category. You actually need to specialize within that category in order to basically make a name for yourself and attract high value clients. Okay, so let's take an example of a writer. If you are just a writer, and you don't specialize in anything, whatever that you do, first of all, you're gonna get paid a lot less, and the competition for you is gonna be just incredibly high. However, if you, let's say, within the writer's category, you specialize in copywriting, and copywriting is basically trying to sell something to people via text. So if it means like writing maybe ads or working on landing pages or anywhere where sales happen, basically you are the person who is writing this. So first of all, I would try to get myself and learn about copywriting, what it takes, what it needs. Basically, you need to know anything in this particular area. And not only that, but you should also specialize within copywriting itself. So I would even go deeper. Okay, so first you want to become a writer because maybe that's the natural skill that you have, or you maybe enjoy doing that in your university or school or wherever you're doing it. And the next thing that you want to do is specialize in the sub niche. So the sub niche would be copywriting, but there are also many different things you can also copyright about. However, I would specifically choose one very niche thing. For example, if you're a copywriter, let's say you only focus on sales landing pages, on a specific landing pages that people make sales, where the people make like maybe courses, maybe they sell specific products, maybe digital products. I mean, there are also sub niches of that. Maybe I wouldn't go into very specifically into those sub niches, but you still need to basically be able to tell what you do in one sentence. I'm a copywriter that specializes in sales landing pages. That is very clear, instead of just I'm a writer, I can write. So, I mean, you see the difference already. One is very general, who can write basically kind of anything because they don't specialize in any specific area. And another person specializes in an incredibly first of all, high value area, because people really value sales landing pages. They basically, the clients get money through those landing pages. So whatever text you put there is incredibly valuable. And if you can change the text and increase the conversion for that client, then there's a lot of big money there. Another quick example can be like a graphic designer. If you're a graphic designer, don't just be graphic designer. Specialize within specific area. For example, maybe you want to attract lawyers. Maybe you want to work with lawyers' websites. So your whole portfolio and your whole sort of persona as a graphic designer is geared towards lawyers. So maybe you look more professional in your photos. Your portfolio and the fonts and styles and colors that you choose will attract lawyers versus just some creative people, or like, I don't know, bakeries or something like that. So whenever you think about a niche, you need to dig down a little deeper to find a specific sub niche and think about the end client. Who is your end client? What they do? You'll make your whole kind of persona and your whole niche surrounded around that. Your testimonials from other, let's say, lawyers will attract more lawyers. Your portfolio that is geared toward lawyers' website will attract more lawyers, and you can see how this can spiral very quickly. However, personally, I would probably try to find a specific skill. If I would be starting from zero, I would probably try to find a specific skill geared towards people owning YouTube channels. I actually see a lot of potential because there are a lot of YouTube businesses now. There are a lot of people with teams. There are a lot of people making money off of YouTube with brand deals, AdSense, everything included. And there are a lot of businesses coming to be within YouTube's ecosystem. Basically, there is tons of opportunity here, and whatever skill that I would develop, I would make sure that it kind of aligns with YouTube in a sense. So whatever is needed for YouTube. So we're thinking like script writing, we're thinking about thumbnails, graphic design, we're thinking about maybe websites, landing pages, sales pages, stuff like that. So whatever the skill I would choose, I would probably lean towards more YouTube related businesses, and I'll tell like exactly why in a bit later. Okay, so you picked a niche, specifically sort of what you wanna do. Next thing is you need to actually learn that skill, and you will need to dedicate kind of at least couple of months of really intense work of finding out everything you can about that and learning. And learning, that really depends on you, how you wish to learn. I personally would probably maybe look for maybe a few courses to get by. There are actually a lot of free information as well. Start Googling, start asking ChatGPT about that stuff. So if you want to get a plan of exactly what you need to do every single day, just go to ChatGPT and type in something like, I want to learn graphic designer because I want to be more attracted to lawyers because this is my client base, and just kind of describe everything in detail, and then ask it, hey, do me a day by day, week by week plan of what I need to do to actually learn this specific skill. ChatGPT is really amazing at that. And the more details you give it, the more you will receive. So just by doing that, you're already ahead of the pack because you now have a day-to-day plan of what you need to do. And I've used ChatGPT before for this type of stuff. It produces incredible results. Okay, so once you have the plan, just follow that plan, whatever sort of it tells. However, don't be restrictive to only what ChatGPT says. There's also a lot of, just Google and research. There are a lot of blogs out there teaching you specific skills. A lot of really good blogs, actually. You're already watching this YouTube video, so just type in YouTube search whatever skill you want to learn, find channels that teach that, and just follow that. My personal favorites, I really enjoy learning by following videos and newsletters. So personally, I would just go to YouTube. I would try to find some specific channels that teach me the skills. There are actually a lot of over 1 hour tutorials for graphic designers and copywriters and everything in between. So just search on YouTube. I would find a specific channel. Because there is a lot of information, you will probably get overwhelmed really, really quickly. So what I would do is I would try to limit the amount of channels I follow. So don't go ahead and follow 10 different channels, because you will be overwhelmed, and some information will repeat, and it's going to be confusing. So just do some research, find like maybe 2 free specific channels that you really enjoy, and just subscribe to them and make some playlist out of their videos, out of their old videos, and just see sort of what specific things that you want to learn or where you want to start. It doesn't matter where you start. Whatever you do, you will eventually figure out everything. Just go with something that kind of interests you. I think this is the approach that I would take. If I find interesting a specific thing in copywriting, let's say I want to know how to, or like maybe if we're talking about graphic designers, I want to know how to create a logo. I would just Google or search on YouTube specifically how to make a logo, find some channels, and start watching their content. And the next thing is newsletters. This is a bit more difficult to find, since you need to kind of look at websites, blogs, and YouTube channels and see sort of whoever offers that to you. So this is a bit more difficult, but personally, I love receiving newsletters about specific things, because this is the easiest way I can learn without sort of doing anything specifically on my own, since I can incorporate reading those newsletters really well into my day-to-day life. So the next thing that I would do is I would actually start building a personal brand. And it may sound a little counterintuitive, but let me explain. There are a lot of benefits for having your personal brand. First of all, people really like to work with other people. What I mean by that is that if you are just an unknown entity with an email or cold calling somebody, or just like if you don't have anything that can be related to you on the internet, then it's gonna be very difficult for you to convince somebody to work with you. And I'm not talking about your personal profiles like your Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever that you have. These do not count towards your personal brand. These are your personal accounts for your personal life. What I am talking about is about building specific accounts or specific social channels like Twitter X or like LinkedIn, or even a new Instagram account that is purely related to your specific niche, like your freelancing niche that you will that you'll offer services to. However, it's not gonna pay you any dividends anytime soon. So if you create your LinkedIn or your Instagram or your personal website, it's not gonna give you anything straight away, and you have to accept that. But it's still very valuable, but since it's taking so long to build, I would actually start that as soon as possible, because of the compounding effect that it will have over the next 6 months, over the next year. So I would start that as soon as I start learning about a specific niche. In the meantime, I would also start building my personal brand, which means like setting up accounts, doing all of the admin, setting up the website, all of that stuff. It takes time to set up. Once it's set up, the only thing that you need to do is be active on those platforms. And believe me, people actually want to work with people that are active on somewhere. So if I'm looking for a graphic designer and I stumble upon somebody posting about how they do something in graphic design on Instagram Reels, or a post or an Instagram account or a website or on Twitter, it doesn't matter where I'm sort of looking, but if I stumble upon and I see that that person has been doing or posting that thing for a while, it gives me confidence, because I can already see their examples, the way they think. I can already see that they're dedicated to a specific platform and they're posting regularly. This will help you stand out from the crowd really easily, because a lot of freelancers don't do this. And it's actually I'm kind of amazed that there are very little amount of people that actually build their personal brands. The most straightforward way is using some freelancing platforms, which I also think are amazing. But if you're thinking about freelancing in the long term, you need to build your own personal brand. It's going to be way more powerful. The clients that you're going to get through your personal brand are going to be way better. The payments, the projects, everything is just way better if you have that personal brand. So if you want to achieve that 100K per year from freelancing, this is a must step for you. And actually, you don't need that much of a time in the beginning. Just like doing 1 or 2 hours per day, maybe even less, maybe 1 or 2 hours per week. I mean, it does depend on the way what you set up. If you do blog, newsletters, if you do several social media channels or just one. What I do suggest is don't go overboard. So I would just select a few specific things for your niche, because for each different niche, different platforms might be relevant. So in my case, if I would start from zero, one thing that I would do is definitely set up my LinkedIn profile. It's just a professional and start posting there. There is a very big network of a lot of professionals there, and I've did get acquainted with a lot of people through LinkedIn. So this is definitely number one channel that I would set up. Then Instagram is also good, but it does depend on the specific niches that you do. If you have a more visual niche, video editor, graphic designer, anything related to that, you can, Instagram is amazing. If you do more like copywriting or text related, maybe you want to think about like Twitter or X, something in that area. So whatever you do, just choose like a couple of channels only. So LinkedIn and maybe one other social media, and that should be enough, because you don't want to get overwhelmed if you have like 5, 6, 7 different accounts and you need to post them everywhere. It's just going to be a mess. And the next thing, I would think about either newsletter, a blog, or a YouTube channel. Again, it does depend on what you do, but this is one of those things that I would also consider doing myself. Like a YouTube channel is, anything you do in a video is just the best way to represent you, yourself as a person. You can showcase your work. So just by having that, it's very easy to get clients this way. And then of course, I would highly recommend setting up your personal website. So there is a kind of a lot of debate. Is it relevant? Is it not? People have moved to social medias. Nobody really goes to websites anymore. However, I still find value in it, because you can control everything on your website. So especially, for example, if you are a developer, your website is basically your portfolio. But even if you are just copywriter, digital marketing expert, or whatever that you do, it's a way to stand out from the crowd and showcase yourself. So your whole website kind of becomes your portfolio and the way you present yourself to others, because all Instagram profiles are kind of, they're the same. Yes, the content in there is different, but the setup is very, very similar. If you have a website that you can send to people, first of all, it takes extra effort to do the website. So that's already valuable, because not a lot of people do have personal websites. And second of all, there is so much customization and so much different ways you can showcase your portfolio, your persona. You can have specific videos on there. You can have specific text. You can have different ways of people interacting with your testimonials, with your content. It's just, you can do so much that I highly recommend starting that. This will give you legitimacy. This will give you a place to store your portfolio, have your testimonials there, and just showcase you as a person. However, as I mentioned, building a personal brand takes a lot of time and effort. So when you do these things, don't expect to get clients for straight away from just your website or your newly created Instagram account. We're not doing this to get clients the next month. We're doing this so that we can build our personal brand over a period of time. And over time, will actually see a compounding effect where you will do less and less, but you will start getting a lot of referrals and a lot of connections through this way. For example, I still get clients through my Upwork profile. Although Upwork profile is not technically anything that I mentioned here yet, it's still something that kind of represents my personal brand. Since it's very established, I still get connections through there. But I also get a lot of referrals from the clients that I worked with years ago, and I work with them because they found me through things actually such as newsletters, websites, or even my YouTube channel. So don't underestimate the power that you're building when you're sort of creating all of this content and putting it out there. And what people forget is that you don't need millions of followers. You just actually need maybe 100, maybe a few hundred, maybe 1,000 followers. I mean, that does depend on a platform, but dedicated followers that follow you because of what you do. And believe me, you will start to connect with people. For example, I have a new personal newsletter that barely has 100 subscribers on it, where I just write about just my thoughts and just the collection of my thoughts and feelings and projects that I'm doing. It's a very personal newsletter. But I actually got connected to a person through that. And then that person has led me to one of the biggest projects that I ever received through freelancing, just because of that specific newsletter. So again, if whatever you do, if you look at your website analytics, if you only get like 100 visitors per month and you think that's very low, no. The people that you target, if you work on your targeting well, then you only actually need just 100 people per month to actually start getting work and clients through there. And don't forget to curate your personal brand to your clients. So think about your potential clients and where do they hang out. For example, lawyers, you'll probably most likely find them on LinkedIn. But let's say if you're targeting YouTubers, you'll most likely find them on Twitter and X. Like those platforms are way better for communicating and sort of with YouTubers, but for lawyers, you probably want to go to LinkedIn. So when you decide what type of personal brand and where you want to sort of showcase your work, that really depends on your niche, on your sub niche, and then on your target clients that you want to work with eventually with. And the next thing is to create your portfolio. But I know what you might be thinking. Benas, you are starting from zero. You have no clients. You're just starting to learn new skill. How can you actually create a portfolio when you have nothing? First of all, while you're learning that new skill, let's say you're a graphic designer and you're watching YouTube videos and you're learning to some new tool, whatever sort of it is, you are learning to do something. While you're learning to do, actually do those things. So for example, make logos, make different website designs, just play around, because first of all, you learn a lot by doing, but then what you do and what you create, even though it's not for the clients and it's just for your own purpose, still those things, just accumulate them and actually insert them into your portfolio. And then once you finish learning or you have enough skills to make something even better, just take, for example, if you're a graphic designer, take some 10 companies and remake their logos. Take real companies and make brand books for them. So although you're doing the work not for the clients, this is super important to produce as many examples as possible to showcase your skill, because clients don't usually care if the specific piece of content that you did was for a client or you did it on your own. It still showcases your skill and what you can do. And this is the most important part. People, when they hire you, when they're looking at their portfolio, they're actually imagining their site, their business, and they want to see if they can see a resemblance of what they want to do for their business. And if they can see a resemblance, then they're more likely to hire you. So for example, if a person is choosing from like 10 different graphic designers and they all have portfolios, when I look at each portfolio, what I'm trying to see is basically similar designs that I imagine or similar styles that I personally prefer. That is why it's very important, what I mentioned early in the video, to align yourself to a specific niche, because if you're targeting just lawyers, then your whole portfolio can be more suited to lawyers. And then when they look at your portfolio, they already imagine their website, their designs based on what you showcase them. So they're more likely to work with you. However, not all niches are blessed with, ability to showcase your work. Even my work, for example, search engine optimization or like pay-per-click advertising or anything like that, like anything in digital marketing usually revolves around the results. Like my portfolio is basically screenshots of the results that I achieved for my clients. And yes, I know that can be difficult to produce once you don't have anything, but one thing you can do is, for example, create a website and try to grow it organically. Do some PPC campaigns for your own website. If you're a mobile developer, maybe you want to actually create an app, maybe just a simple app. But if you have a very simple app which is on the App Store, that's already more than any other mobile developer can actually showcase for. So just by having certain items like that, it does make easier for clients to hire you. So even if you're in a niche where it seems like it's difficult to showcase your portfolio because you don't have anything visual to showcase, be creative. Try to build graphs, showcase the tools that you use, showcase the sites or companies that you work with, showcase the sites and companies that you research for. There are a lot of creative ways of how we can showcase what you can do. So you don't necessarily need to showcase the result if it's a niche where it's a bit more difficult to showcase that. But if you showcase the tools that you use or the way that you work, or you maybe create even a small video explaining your process. So just go nuts with this, because nobody said that a portfolio has to be a PDF. It can be a PDF, but there are many other ways that you can showcase your work. And actually, coming back to the personal brand, this is why it's amazing to create a personal brand, because if you share your thoughts and your opinions and things about on social media about the thing that you're freelancing in, people don't need to see the work that you do. They will already trust you based on that. Of course, people will want to eventually see your portfolio, but you can gain trust without technically having a portfolio. This is why personal brand is very, very important to do as well. So build as much as possible, collect everything in one place, and then build your personal site to maybe showcase your portfolio in a very creative way. It doesn't have to be PDF. It can be a PDF. It can be a PDF and a website. It can be a video. It can be a video edit of your things. It's just, there are many different ways of showing it, and don't be restricted that you only need to showcase your portfolio in a very certain way. Actually, the more creatively you showcase your work and your portfolio, the more you're going to impress your future clients. And I personally would actually even hire people to help me create that portfolio. So if I'm not a creative person, let's say I choose to be in digital advertising, I don't know nothing about, creating a very nice looking PDFs or websites, I would actually consider myself spending a couple of $100 going on Upwork and finding people that can help me create that portfolio in the way that I want to be it created. Of course, there are tools like Canva and stuff like that where you can go in and find templates and create portfolios that way. But if you want to elevate your portfolio, I personally would probably hire somebody from Upwork to help me with that. So we have our niche selected, we do have our personal brand started, and we have created our portfolio. So next thing is to actually start looking for work. And I would choose to go to Upwork. Maybe I'm biased, but I did start my career kind of took off when I started working on Upwork. So I did start freelancing before that. I already had some clients and stuff like that. But when I switched to Upwork, everything really accelerated. And I still believe it's one of the best platforms to get started with your freelancing career. But I'm not gonna lie, it is difficult. It is very competitive, and it's gonna take a lot of time, especially for the new profile to kind of build up. So be prepared for like 2 to 3 months just sending out proposals, having interviews and all of that. It is difficult, but once you get established on Upwork ecosystem, you can get a lot of invites and a lot of sort of clients through there. And I still think it's one of the best ways when you are starting out. However, it's very important that you look at Upwork as as a routine. So it's not like you need to spend 12 waking hours on Upwork looking for jobs. I wouldn't do that. I personally would set up the basics, such as, buying a lot of connects. Unfortunately, it is the platform where it's becoming paid to play. So if you want to stand out, I would probably set aside myself maybe $100, $200 budget per month so that I can kind of get ahead on certain proposals so that clients can see me more and give me work that way. I would also do things like set availability badge on, boost my profile using connects. I would highly suggest making a video for your Upwork profile. Not a lot of people do that, but the ones that do, clients are more willing to work with people that they actually see. These days, profile photo doesn't mean anything. In this AI world, you can basically become a dragon or whatever you want to. So having a video, it's way better to basically showcase how you look, how you talk, how you present yourself, and clients do really value that. So I would also optimize the headline. So the headline is dependent on your sub niche. So if we talked about being a copywriter for a sales landing page, this is exactly where you would place that, because it's one of the first things that people see when you apply to their jobs. So your headline is definitely one of the most important things that you do on your Upwork profile. And of course, I have to mention this, but complete it 100%, fill in every detail. Photo also has to be professional and bright, and make sure that the background and you are a different contrast so that you pop out more in that photo. I would also maybe do maybe a ring of different color, like a blue, yellow, something like that, just to kind of so that I have that ring around my photo so it's more stand out. Or maybe the whole background can be like yellow and then you're wearing like a black t-shirt. Just whatever you do, the photo is also very important to make it professional, but play with colors to make sure that you stand out. And then once we set up the basics of the profile, once we have everything in there, I then would go into Upwork job feed and set specific filters for specific jobs that I'm looking for. So I actually want to filter out majority of the jobs that don't fit my criteria. So let's say if I'm starting on Upwork, there are usually 3 types of jobs available. It's easy, intermediate, or looking for experts. So of course, if I'm starting, I'm choosing the easy option, because nobody's gonna hire a completely fresh profile if they're looking for an expert or intermediate freelancer. So I'm setting that, and I'm basically marking a bunch of things that would filter out as many proposals as possible. So I want Upwork to do the job for me. I don't want to be looking through hundreds of proposals every single day and deciding if I should apply or not. I would set a very strict criteria on filters, and then save those filters on Upwork, so that whenever I come to Upwork sort of dashboard, I press on that filter and only look jobs that are on that filter feed. First of all, it's going to make my life a lot easier. It's going to already filter out all of the crap that I don't want to apply for. And it's only going to showcase me jobs that I'm actually want to work and I'm qualified for. And be very picky. Don't just apply to everything. And this is a very common mistake. People go on Upwork and they don't even set any filters, and they just start applying to every single job that comes their way. This is probably the most rookie mistake ever. And then, you apply to 100 jobs and you get 0 interviews, and then you get 0, you do not get hired for any one of them. And then people just, they quit because they think it's not working. Well, you have to be more strategic and more picky. I probably could talk for hours, but there are a lot of ways to evaluate if the client is good, their star rating, their average hourly pay, or the location they're from. So the previous feedback they received, there's a lot of stuff. So I won't go into detail into this video, but know that there is a lot more to Upwork than just applying to the first job that comes your way. Even if you're a new profile, you have to be strategic to the jobs that you apply and to the clients that you will eventually start working for. Also, these days, there are a lot of tools to help you out. For example, there is Pouncer AI, which helps you basically streamline your whole application process. It provides you a lot of like templates, and you can kind of use AI to generate some of the sentences and some of the things. You can also bold things because Upwork doesn't allow that as well. So utilizing those tools mainly to make your application process as seamless and as easy as possible. Save a lot of screenshots and portfolios and everything, have it in one separate folder so that applying for jobs on Upwork becomes a routine. So when I log into Upwork, I go into my specific filter, I check out those jobs for the day. For example, let's say I do this every day at 9 a.m. or something like that. Although I do suggest going more, it depends on a niche, but basically scout and see when they post more jobs, and basically try to make sure that you apply somewhat similar hours during each day, which means you will, get a higher chance of applying to those jobs as soon as they come online. But this is basically the process. So I sit down on my laptop, I click that filter button, I basically go through these proposals, apply to them, close the tabs, and maybe I come back in the evening and then try again to see sort of if there are any new jobs, so that I basically have like maybe 2 or 3 times per day when I check, apply to proposals, and then I don't check Upwork. And this has to become a routine, because if you just sit on Upwork website 12 hours per day just looking at it and scrolling and doing it, it's not productive and it's not going to do anything good. And don't forget, Upwork actually also offers video proposals as well. So in addition to your cover letter and the things that you can attach, such as a portfolio, you can also record a very short video for that client. And I highly suggest doing that. It's still kind of a beta feature, but I don't think a lot of people are still utilizing it. And again, video is the best way to present yourself to the client. So get yourself maybe a nice light, maybe do some background stuff, get a nice light, maybe a fancier microphone. But if you have like a laptop that has a good microphone, that also is enough. But just make sure that you're just think about more about the place that you're filming in, so that it's going to be more pleasant for the clients to view that video. The more professional look on a video, the more likely the clients will hire you. So if you put a bit of extra effort in setting up your stuff, then you're likely ahead of the pack. Once you start applying, my personal goal would be to get 2 to 3 short-term jobs on Upwork. And the reason for that is I want to get jobs, first few jobs, as fast as possible. And I want to finish them as soon as possible, because my whole goal is to get amazing feedback from them. Once you start getting jobs, earnings, and feedback on your Upwork profile, you already are ahead of a lot of new profiles. So you can start moving to intermediate section. You can start looking for more long-term projects, and basically everything else builds from there. But so my goal would be to maybe find a job that takes me maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that, something very simple, and based on this, I would also set the criteria and filters when I search for the jobs. I'm looking for something that again can get paid like 50, 100, maybe $200, and that's it. One and done. Clients are impressed, they leave a good review, and once you start getting reviews on Upwork, then your profile definitely takes on another level. And now let's talk about something that not a lot of people talk about, but this is the way I would approach my freelancing career if I would start today. So remember I mentioned that I would focus sort of my niche or something like that I could offer my services to YouTubers or YouTube businesses. Here's the reason why. Actually, there are a lot of YouTubers that are searching for a lot of good specialists. And from what I hear sort of online and stuff like that, there aren't actually a lot of good people out there. But the demand for people is very high, but the supply is very limited. And a lot of these people don't really like going on freelancing platforms or doing just regular job postings. They usually like to kind of work with people that they kind of know through referrals. There's a lot of referrals happening across the industry. And YouTube is growing. There's a lot of YouTube businesses or just people who earn a living through YouTube that need a lot of services to be done. People usually, like, if you operate on YouTube, you need basics such as admin, accounting, you need thumbnails, you need video editors, you might need some assistance on some stuff. And there's a whole ecosystem that maybe you're not aware yet, but it's there. And that ecosystem needs to be supported by people. And there are actually a lot of small teams, like 2 to 3 people just running a huge YouTube channel. There are also, of course, bigger YouTube businesses and bigger teams, but nonetheless, there are a lot of also YouTube creators that are starting out. Okay, so let's take an example, because again, it really depends on your skill and the approach and kind of the way you would integrate yourself into someone's business depends on a skill. Let's take a very simple example so that you kind of understand the way I would think about this. So let's take graphic designers, and let's say I specialize in thumbnails. Every YouTube channel needs a thumbnail. Somebody needs to make those thumbnails, and people usually like to outsource this kind of thing once they start seeing traction on YouTube. So first, I would want to learn about thumbnails. So this is a very, very key moment. If I'm just a graphic designer and I'll learn how to use Figma or Canva or whatever, it's not gonna work if I don't know how to make a great YouTube thumbnail. So again, research, use ChatGPT, use Google, find blogs, find newsletters, go on Twitter and watch YouTube videos on how to make an awesome thumbnail. You have to be an probably not an expert, because expertise usually takes time and practice, but you at least need to know a lot more than usually people do on the street. Because if you know something and you can produce good results, people will likely take you in, and you will probably can even learn alongside them. I might even consider taking a course or something like that. But again, YouTube, just within YouTube, just type in how to make thumbnails. You'll probably receive over like thousands of hours of content of how to do that. If you watch at least couple of hours of different content on how to make good thumbnails, you already know enough to basically start applying that skill. So once you learn that skill and once you're comfortable of making thumbnails, next thing is I would research a list of YouTubers that are between something like 30,000 subscribers and 150,000 subscribers. So I would go on a smaller sort of spectrum, because those people are more likely to be taking YouTube seriously already, because they already have some traction, they're posting regularly, and they have some YouTube subscribers already. But they're not too big where they already have people on the team where you're basically not needed. So you want to kind of get into that sweet spot and target people in those sort of subscriber areas. I mean, it does depend. Some people with 50,000 subscribers already have like huge teams that they're working on. So you need to be careful sort of who you approach, but this is part of the research. Basically, I would want to make at least 1,000, like a list of 1,000 YouTube channels, and then prioritize them, make some notes, build a whole Google Sheet list with their niche, their maybe email address. I would put in notes, maybe see if they have the team, maybe they mentioned in some of the videos, maybe they have job openings and stuff like that. So I want to have the list of 100 YouTube channels with all of the details that are necessary for me. I would take the top 10 YouTubers from that list, depending on the way you kind of prioritize them, and I would make a custom thumbnail for each of their channels. However, I would probably choose a video that hasn't performed that well. So for example, if they average, for the past like couple of months or something like that, they average like 10,000 views per video, but then you find an older video that maybe has like 3,000 views or something like that. This is probably that you want to target, because you can basically say that, hey, I improved your thumbnail, and if you want to, kind of upload it and see if it does perform well, then it gives you more, a bit more to write in then that outreach email that you're gonna send them. So I would make all of those 10 YouTube thumbnails, custom thumbnails for each, yes. It's gonna take time and effort. That's why we're only kind of picking 10. And then I would write kind of a semi-custom email to them explaining that, hey, I'm starting out with freelancing. This is a thumbnail that I made specifically for you, for your video. I think it can perform better than the other video. And again, this is crucial because if you learn some specific skill while learning how to make thumbnails, this is where you need to apply that. Maybe you see that their thumbnail doesn't follow some rule or something like that. This is a perfect thing for you to target because people are very likely to respond positively. So what might happen next is that some may reply to you and some may actually use your thumbnail and see how it goes. Some may not reply to you, of course. This is usually when you sort of try to outreach to people. But there is a possibility that one person or something like that replies to you, looks at the thumbnail, sees that it's very great. Maybe they change it, and maybe they don't even wait to see if it performs better or not. But they're like, hey, this is kind of looks easy, looks very like you did the style and the thumbnail in a way that they kind of enjoy. And they're actually will probably be willing to hire you for your next thumbnail. What you can also do is maybe offer the next video that they do, the new video, you can offer them one thumbnail for free. So with the first thumbnail that you did for the old video is just to sort of get their attention, see sort of that they like the style that you're creating the thumbnails in. But then you can offer them, hey, you know that YouTube feature where you can kind of upload free thumbnails and see which one performs? This is also a good way to kind of differentiate yourself than saying, hey, upload my thumbnail, see if that performs better than your thumbnail. And if that happens, basically you're instantly hired. You instantly have a client which pays you X amount per thumbnail for, quite a long time. Because YouTubers really like to stick with the people that they are comfortable with working. So if they start working with you, it's very unlikely that they will drop you unless your quality goes bad or something external happens or they actually stop working on their YouTube channel. But if they continue building their YouTube channel and you continue building relationship with that person, you're likely going to work with them for quite a while. However, if none of the 10 people that you emailed reply, this is why we made that list of 90 other YouTubers. Then take another 10 YouTubers from that list, make a thumbnail, and then send them out. I would probably wait a week. So I would probably do like 10 thumbnails per week and then send 10 emails per week. And if I send them on Monday and if I don't hear from them by next Monday, then I basically mark that on my Google Sheet and then move on with another list of 10 YouTubers, make thumbnails for them, send them out. And basically I have enough, if I have 100 YouTubers, I have enough work for the next 10 weeks of just sending out these emails. And believe me, at least one of those will be a positive reply where you will actually get hired. And if you get hired and you bill, maybe it depends on a YouTuber and the things that you agree, but let's say from like maybe on the lower end from like $30 to $50 per thumbnail, it means that you have, and if that person publishes, let's say once a week or something like that, that might be up to $200 per month for just that one client for 4 thumbnails. And you can see how powerful it can get if you have like, 3, 4, 5 clients like that. However, I would also try some other channels. So I know that there is like a ytjobs.co. It's a specific website for basically YouTubers looking for people with other skills like editors, designers, and stuff like that. So of course, I would create profile there. I would probably utilize Twitter. Well, it's X called these days, because I know that a lot of YouTubers also hang out there and sort of chat with each other, and there's a lot of conversation going. So I would share my ideas there. I would share my thumbnails. I would share what I learn, and I would sort of try to get in contact with people. The more eyeballs see you, the more sort of you are likely to get hired, to speak simply. However, I would also follow some bigger YouTubers because, for example, like YouTubers like Ali Abdel already have like a team of 10 people, but they also regularly actually look for more freelancers or part-time workers or even full-time workers. So I would keep my eye on these types of job applications to see if I can sort of work with them. There's also a Publish Press newsletter. I would probably sign up for that because, well, I am signed up for that, but I know because they actually list some jobs that people are looking for, especially YouTubers are looking for, because it's the Publish Press newsletter. It is for creators about the creator economy. So as you can see, I would try to get myself into that world as much as possible, subscribe to channels, subscribe to newsletters, read blogs, create my profiles on websites where other YouTubers look for other freelancers, and just insert myself into that world as much as possible. Again, it doesn't have to be YouTube for you. There might be some other industry, some other areas that I don't even know about. And that people, gather around and need a lot of freelancers. Personally, since I'm more into the YouTube stuff, this is what I would do. I would go full on YouTube. I would try to apply to Upwork and basically manage those two and see sort of whichever sort of picks up first. I would also not neglect my own friends, colleagues, my existing network for finding jobs. Actually, this is how I got started with freelancing. I got a job, simply speaking, from a friend of a friend. Because they owned a website and they needed some content to be done. And I was at the point where I was starting to do sort of content and articles and stuff like that. And I just kind of offered them the service and they were like, hey, this is exactly what we need. Let's try to work together. So don't neglect your own existing network. If you start freelancing, just announce that to the world, to your friends, to your colleagues. Probably don't need to ask for work. What I would do is just announce to everyone that I'm switching careers, or I'm starting to do this thing, or I'm trying to improve my portfolio, maybe offer some free work. Be careful with that. Some people really use other people for that free work, but then again, it will give you some things that you can add to your portfolio. So there are sort of some benefits there as well. But just utilize your network as a first means to see if anybody needs anything or if anybody knows anyone. Don't be too pushy, but sending a message on to a friend asking if they know anyone, or if they heard someone, or if they can get you in touch with some people. Just be very casual about it, and you might be surprised that people are actually looking for some work to be done always. Since my career started this way, I definitely suggest you give it a try and see sort of how it goes for you. And then I also include local businesses into kind of your existing network. So local businesses usually have very little competition, and they probably need some things to be done. But there is a lot of nuance there, since you need to kind of do cold calling or cold emailing. Not a lot of people are comfortable with that. So I'm not gonna get into much into this specific strategy, but this is something I would probably also see if I can utilize. But again, this is local, so it really depends on the country, the city, the area that you live in, and sort of what kind of businesses are available. And there's a lot of sort of moving parts here. But let's say if you live in a bigger city and you want to select specific niche again, and then that could be, for example, HVAC companies. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and cooling, basically. So these are the companies that monitor heating and cooling for your home, air conditioners and heaters and all of that stuff. If you select that sub niche of category of people, they probably need a website. They probably need sort of some advertising. They probably need some writers, some content. So it does depend on sort of where you go, but this is also a good way to explore if you can get clients this way. And there is a lot of potential here because local businesses are not usually seen by the whole world. If you go on Upwork, like your whole world is basically your competitor, if you know what I mean. But if you try to cold call or cold email your local business, especially if you're not from like London or New York or from like maybe a smaller city, then it's probably the first email that you get about this type of thing. So you're more likely to be seen, and you can also get clients this way. I used to do this when I got started, and I actually got a lot of my own local clients this way through like just cold calling and cold emailing and through my kind of existing networks and stuff like that. So don't undervalue this, because it can give you some income, some first clients, and some experience for the niche that you're in. Everything I told you should take you about 6 months. So I'm estimating here, but this is the way I kind of imagine myself doing things. So first couple of months is for learning, setting up a personal brand, setting up Upwork, Then probably the next couple of months is, creating that portfolio and sort of starting to apply to jobs. And then the next couple of months is already sort of starting to work with the first clients and starting to do some work. So to establish yourself and to get a lot of things done, I would estimate it will probably take about 6 months. And then this is the crucial thing. For the next 6 months, once you already have some experience, some clients that you worked with, now you are looking for more long-term clients. You're looking for more serious businesses, you're looking for bigger projects, because up to this point, you should have probably completed maybe 3, 4, 5 different clients, different types of work. You have your portfolio, you have everything sort of set. But the last 6 months is all about locking in those long-term projects, because this is what is gonna get you to that 100K per year. The pricing here really depends on what you do, but what you want to do is basically sign some long-term contracts. And usually for bigger projects, I'm speaking from experience, so each niche will differ, but usually pay maybe around like $3,000 per month. So you only need 3 clients, $3,000 each, to basically have 100K per year business. Or if you sort of, depending on what you charge, you can also charge like 1,500K per month for your services. Then you need 6 clients to also get to that 100K per year goal. And again, there are different ways of managing clients and strategies and pricing, but I can only talk a bit more broadly since I don't know, for example, what is your specific niche, but this is what I would personally do. I would try to, if it's the YouTube business that I work with, then I would probably start sort of climbing up the ladder and going in for not just doing thumbnails, but doing something a bit more, doing more design work, taking on some more things, signing up retainers and contracts with these YouTubers. If I have like at least 4 or 5 YouTubers paying around $1,000 per month, that's already like $5,000 per month that I'm earning just from 5 clients. But this video is already way too long. So if you want to learn more about how to become a freelancer or how to earn more freelancing, there's going to be a link in the description below. But for now, YouTube thinks for some reason that you want to watch this video. So check it out. Ciao.